Hey, it's Eric J. Olson back for another Lunchtime Live. Today, I'm coming at you from Melbourne Beach, Florida. I'm here at my parents' house visiting them for a couple days, but I still wanted to get Lunchtime Live in. And today I've got John Hall from AGWraps in Chesapeake, Virginia. What's up, John?
What's up, man? How's it going? How you been?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, dude. It's like 70 degrees here. I've got short sleeves on and shorts. What about there?
I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I hear it's kind of nasty back at home, man. About to snow. But hey, John, I appreciate you coming on. So I know John from the Entrepreneurs Organization. That's the first time we met, which was probably about 3 years ago, I think.
Yep.
And we joined at about the same time. So we were both kind of newbies then. And I kind of sort of learned about your story. And certainly I know like what you've been doing the last 3 to 5 years. But why don't you kind of like share with the audience, who you are and what you do?
So, name's John Hall. I've been the owner of AGWraps since 2006, and we actually started as action graphics and signs. I purchased the company at 19 from my uncle. It was a little bit of a sticky situation. He kind of got into some legal trouble and things, and so I was kind of running the show while he only had about maybe 6-8 months of experience. Kind of took over for about 3 months while he was kind of dealing with this stuff, and kind of came back and told me he was going to close the business up. We had kind of made some promises financially to me, and so offered up some equipment and things like that. And I just felt like if I was going to do it, I needed to take it from where it was at and kind of grow it from where it was. And I was the only employee at that time. So basically, I asked him how much, and he kind of told me a number that I thought was crazy. So went through, kind of inventoried everything myself, and looked at what I thought the value of the company was, made an offer, and we kind of agreed. And so I put down a down payment of the money that he owed me, and made payments and had everything paid off in the first year.
Man, that's an incredible story. So first of all, yeah, let's kind of back up a little bit, man. So you're 19 years old. Your uncle, needs some help. What was it like a rush thing? I mean, did you have like a month of transition where you could learn the job, where you're already working there part time, something like that?
So I got into the sign business when I was actually 16, working for my granddad. My granddad got my whole family in the sign business about 50 years ago. He owned Archbell Signs. And so I was working with him. He set me down when I was about 16, 17 and told me, look, there's no place for you here in this business. And, I think you should join the military. And, that just wasn't my style. You know me, not going to be told what to do.
No, they're gonna have to, yeah, they'll have to shave too.
Yeah, definitely not shaving for sure. So, that was, kind of the deciding factor of like, all right, I need to kind of start looking in a different direction. And that was actually when I first got interested in real estate, man, and started kind of thinking more in that direction. And then my uncle kind of called me out the blue and was like, hey, man, I've just got this thing started up and, kind of fresh. I need a little bit of help. You interested in learning more about the business than just painting posts and digging holes? And that's basically what I was doing at Archbell. And so, yeah, I took the opportunity, and the day after I graduated high school, I started my first day with him.
Oh, wow. All right. So that was 18 or so.
Yeah.
So I guess you worked there.
Yeah.
So you worked there for what, 6 to 12 months, something like that, before you took it over?
6-8 months before he got into his legal trouble. And then the last, probably 3 months of my career there before buying it, I was kind of running the show myself.
Yeah.
I hired a helper and things and just kind of was making things happen. And we were very small back then, man. I mean, I think our daily goal was like $300 a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not nothing, now we're shooting for 50,000 a week is what our goal is. So definitely, leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's incredible, man. What a journey. So that's just amazing, man. At such a young age, jumping right into it. So, so you got a loan, and was it owner financed?
Yeah, it was owner finance basically because he owed me $5,000, and so I took the $5,000 as a down payment. We think we settled on like $22,000 for the purchase price, and so I put the $5,000 down, and then we made a payment plan of like $1,000 a month for the first year and $2,000 for the second year. And I had the money to pay him off in the first year, but we decided to continue the payments just because he was kind of using the money to live off of and things like that. Don't want to get too much money at one time.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's a huge amount of responsibility running your own company right off the bat. I mean, basically right out of high school, and then you said you had a helper. At what point did you hire your first full-time employee?
So it was probably like a month in, man, because I had so much going on up front that I was working on myself, trying to do the billing and different things like that. And then the next person I hired was the front desk person because the billing and keeping up with all the paperwork definitely wasn't my style. So that was the next hire that I made. And then 2008, we transitioned from the little spot we were in. We were in a little suite, like a little 700 square foot suite. And we bought a 4,000 square foot building and purchased it 2 years later. So that was another big undertaking that I was kind of really nervous about. But I talked to a couple buddies that were kind of doing some of the similar stuff I was, and it was scared money don't make no money. So let's get after it.
You know what? That's a great saying. Scared money don't make no money. Yeah, I've heard that so many. Not that saying per se, but sayings like that about you don't want to save money. You need to get that money back out there. You need to invest it. You got to put it to work for you.
Yeah.
And if you just work and you save, you're just not going to really get ahead in life. You may save for a future day, but you're not going to get to exactly where you want to be. You got to put that money to work.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like the guy that owned the building, man, kept coming in. He was a customer of mine, and the building was right behind my current building, and he kept coming in. Hey, man, don't you really want to buy this building? Don't you really want to buy this building? And I'm thinking my whole time in my head, like it's going to be too much. It's not going to work, and So finally, after like the 10th time of him asking me, I'm like, let's go take a look at it, and we just started walking through, and he was willing to owner finance it for me. He only wanted 25 grand down. I ended up being able to talk him out of the 25 grand down because I put that 25 grand into the building to fix it up, to make it livable for the business. And so basically I took it as a owner finance, no money down, and, signed a note with him. And I don't know, maybe 8 years after that, man, I went to refinance the loan with the bank, and I went to him for a payoff, and he wouldn't even let me pay him off then. He pulled out a refinance for me and kept it owner finance.
Is that right? Surprising.
Building some good relationships, I guess.
Yeah. Let's talk. Actually, all right. First of all, I want to remind anyone who's watching, if you have a question for John or if you have a comment, put it in the comments of whatever social media you're watching this on. We're blasting like Facebook, LinkedIn, a lot of different places. If you put it in the comments, I can bring it in just like I have this comment here from Greg. And so I'll bring in the comments. If you have a question for John, we'll answer it live. So John, I want to find out a little bit about how your business has pivoted over time, because I'm sure it has. But before we do that, can you tell us, like, what does AGWraps do?
So AGWraps now specializes in full vehicle wraps. That's our main go-to is fleet wraps, large fleet customers. Some of our customers are JES and the local transit, HRT. So we like to do large fleet projects like that. Second is going to be, the interior wall murals and exterior storefronts and wall murals. That's another big factor for us. We've done a lot of the Rosie casinos and just put, wallpaper patterns basically up using our vinyl wrap and like the storefront that you have displayed there, stuff like that. That's one.
Wow, these are big.
There.
So this right here, this is the hotel in Norfolk, right?
Correct.
And so there's this whole area in the bottom center. That's a one big wrap.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's amazing, man.
Yep.
Wow. How big? Actually, let me go back to that. How big are these sections here? Like, how long are they?
So the total window is like 25 foot long, but it's actually broken down into like about 6 or 8 foot sections. So there's like, I think three 6 or 8 foot sections there.
Wow. That is awesome. And then this right here. So this cheat shows, is this kind of like where it has the pinholes so they can see from the outside or from the inside out?
Yep. It's called perforated window film. And it comes in like 50-50, 70-30. And that's like for the window tint, like basically it's like 50% window tint. And you get 50% of visibility through it. So yeah, the guests on the inside aren't obstructed. They can see right out.
That is really cool, man. And then here we've got some more interior wrapping.
Yeah, that's at a cinema cafe, actually.
Yeah. Oh, neat. That's really cool, man. And then here's another one. Yeah, so this is Spartans. Nice.
Yeah, Norfolk State. We work a lot with the universities, Norfolk State, ODU, and do a lot with there's sports teams and things like that.
Nice. And then there's another one. Here we go. Floor Trader, one of our previous clients, actually. So you did their outside, inside too?
Yep. We've done some wall murals inside for them, done some storefront graphics at their Lynn Haven location. And there where they have a box that's kind of on the front to kind of do their wholesale inventory pricing or whatnot. So we're rewrapping that little box up front there.
There you go. That is some really cool stuff, man. Hey, actually, I wanted to find out. I mean, here's even like a car. So instead of someone getting a paint job, they got it wrapped. Why would someone do that?
So like that Tesla there, that's a satin black color. So you're not going to be able to get, Tesla to give you a factory satin black color. So if they want the satin black color, they have to get it wrapped. And what better way than being able to remove it and return it back to the factory paint without damage?
There you go. That's really cool, man. That is so neat. You do some really, really neat stuff. What's it like to actually like? How do you go about like design? Actually, let me find maybe another one. I think there was the van. How do you go about like wrapping like this hybrid air van? I mean, it's a three-dimensional thing. So are you printing in 3D or how does that work?
No. Everything's designed in 2D, man. It takes actually a good amount of experience of going from the 2D to actual, 3D and applying it, in actual real life. So we take a lot of things into consideration. So a lot of times when we're designing the template, we'll actually pair the back template up with the side template so it's all one piece. So the design flows from the front to the back. And sometimes even put the other side in there so it's one side, the back, and then the other side. So the design flows all the way across as it's one piece. And then, we have some talented guys in our print room that are able to crop and chop it up. So that way it gets installed, and then installers that kind of follow those details through to make sure that, it comes out as the designer's intended. It's definitely a process, man, that takes time and a learning curve to get to where you're actually good at making it have flow. That's what we call it, is flow from panel to panel. You want the hood to not look like it's a completely separate color than the side and things like that. We take a lot of pride in making sure that we do that.
I'm sure you do. I mean, just looking at this hybrid van, we've got a panel in the front, we've got a panel on the door, we've got another one right behind, we got one at the very end. So you got at least 4 panels right there. And then
Yep.
you have this line that's very straight until it intentionally curves up. And then
Right.
that straight line over the wheel well, I mean, that wheel well is a three-dimensional piece, and you still kept that line straight like that. I mean, I would imagine that's difficult.
Oh yeah, it definitely takes skills. You got to step back and look at what you're doing and make sure, and that's something that we try to make sure that, everyone from start to finish understands that, quality isn't just about the install, it's the design, it's the way the customer's handled and everything as well.
That's some really cool stuff, man. You guys do some really nice work. So, all right, so that's what you do now. Tell us what the business did in the beginning, and maybe like a couple of times where you pivoted, or maybe like where you came across like some challenging times, and you're like, I have to change whether I like it or not.
Yeah. So when we first got into the business, man, it was everything was done. There was no digital printing like it is nowadays. Everything was just cut decals. So you take a solid color roll of vinyl, you'd stick it in a machine that had a razor blade in it, and it cut your logo out. If you wanted 2 colors in that, you'd cut a background color, you'd cut a foreground color, and you lay them both together. So our first year in business, that's when the market was crazy in '06. Everybody was getting, so it was nothing to get a loan. So we went and got a loan for some equipment, and got our first printer. And then we were able to take a decal and take 4 colors and cut it to the outside of the whole shape, all 4 colors at once. So definitely a game changer, saved time, money, and all that. But at that time, the industry was kind of different. Wraps were nowhere near 15 years ago what they are today. And so a lot of people, weren't paying for them. They were a lot more expensive then. The vinyl to do them were a lot more expensive. So on average, now a wrap is about $3,000, $3,500. Then you're paying $5,000 to $6,000 to get a vehicle wrap. So you didn't have a lot of people lining up to do it. And so my first year in business, I went to this conference in Charlotte, North Carolina. A lot of bigwigs that were in the industry were there, and there's a lot of guys there talking about vehicle wraps. And I had kind of went into that seminar thinking like, I either need to start really focusing on high-end fabricated signs where, you're doing more of the lighted fabricated stuff and things like that, monument signs, or I need to get hardcore about the digital stuff and go into the vehicle wrap. And so it was at that seminar that they said, everyone in the sign industry, can do vehicle wraps. And not anyone's going to be known for doing vehicle wraps in the sign industry because it's just going to be a product that you offer. So if you really want to be known for doing vehicle wraps, change your name to a wrap shop. And so that's when we got back and changed from Action Graphics and Signs to AGWraps, and really started focusing on AG as a brand, and kind of first started doing them separately. We still kept Action Graphics and kept all that clientele and branded all the signs and all that stuff separate, and then kind of did the vehicle wrap stuff separate. And then when we moved in 2008, our goal was to do 4 vehicle wraps a month. Now there's days where we do 4 vehicles in a day. So it just was a huge difference in, what our goals were and things. But that was probably our biggest pivot, is going from focusing on being a sign shop to focusing on being a wrap shop. And then about 3 years ago, I got opportunity to buy my granddad's shop, Archbell Signs. So kind of came back full circle after I was told I would never have an opportunity there, and was able to purchase it. So that was pretty rewarding. But that allowed us to kind of take all that business that we had built under Action Graphics that we weren't getting rid of, because we had a good customer base and it was still good business. It just wasn't streamlining everything that we did, and kind of looking through EO and learning the 80-20 rule and things like that, and just understanding that it was a better move for our business. So we took all that business and shifted it over to Archbell. We lost some customers in the process because they didn't, like the location or whatever the case may be. But end result, man, we ended up increasing profitability by 16% by making that one change. So I mean, it made a huge difference in cash flow for sure, and then also allowed us to be more streamlined. So now the order's kind of the same as it goes through the whole shop, instead of you might have this product or you might have that product. So that kind of helped build more consistency as well. So I think we're putting out a more quality product now too.
That's awesome, man. First of all, that you purchased your grandfather's business after, basically being shut down with that opportunity several years before that. So congratulations on that. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. And then, you mentioned like getting the idea of switching from signs to wraps at a conference. You mentioned EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization, which is it's a peer group of other entrepreneurs. There's a chapter where we live, the Southeast Virginia chapter, but there's chapters all across the world. When I talk to entrepreneurs about like, does it make sense to go to these conferences? Does it make sense to get in peer groups? It's kind of hard sometimes to even quantify like whether you're going to get an immediate return on investment on those investments. But every time I've done something like that, there's been a big reward, a big return. You just don't know where it's going to come from, but just being surrounded by other like-minded people has always been really advantageous for me, and it sounds like it's been for you as well.
Same, yeah. That conference definitely was an eye opener, and I started getting more into educating myself as far as following articles and magazines and different things like that. We're a pretty small industry, so we're not as big as some of the other industries. So most of our stuff is more consolidated, and there's not as much prevalent information. So now that the vehicle wrap scene has kind of grown almost as big as the sign scene has, a lot of that stuff's coming full circle to where there's a lot more outlets for a lot of that stuff. But definitely EO has been a big part too with, the business side of things. The seminars and things for the industry have helped with industry tactics and, printers and equipment and, how to get more out of your people and things like that. But the EO has definitely made a big impact on, how we run financially and everything like that. And just basically, allowed us to hone in more on the things that we know that we're good at and focus more on those things and focus on building our team, our core values and all that kind of stuff to really just make more of a cohesive team, essentially.
Mission, vision, core values, purpose. Those are all things that because of my participation in EO, like I've had to think about and really define, and especially the purpose. That was a very difficult one to even like come to grips with. But hey, if you're looking to expand into other markets, here's an opportunity from Coach Joe White. Do you do business in Colorado, or would you?
Hey, we actually do. JES has two brands in Colorado that we service. And yeah, we're willing to expand anywhere in the United States. You got an opportunity for me? You can shoot me an email, john@agwraps.com.
John@agwraps.com. You know what? I'm going to put that up here. Bear with me for a second. So John@agwraps.com. AGWraps.com. Heck yeah. All right, Joe. There it is. Email John. I'll leave that up for a couple minutes. And then we have another question here. 1 second from Misty. How long would that wrap typically last on a car?
So the film itself is warranted by the manufacturer on a vertical surface. So anything that is directly facing or not directly facing the sun, you get 5 to 7 years out of. Horizontal, anything that's directly facing the sun is going to be 2 years.
Okay. What about so the car is 2 years then?
Yeah. So the hood, roof, and trunk of a car would be 2 years. The sides of the vehicle would be 5 to 7.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Gotcha. And is that typically the lifetime of the wrap?
Yeah. Typically on average. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. And here we go. One more. A lot of comments, John. A lot of questions. A lot of interest here in you. So it's from Henry. AGWraps' first class. They saved my car from a bad wrap.
Yeah, Henry had a little bit of a bad experience with another installer and had some damage to his vehicle. So we were able to help him out, get him squared away.
Henry got the hookup. All right, sweet. There's John's email once again, so you can email John. Hey, so John, let's talk about real estate. So you got into real estate early on. You mentioned buying your building. You've mentioned real estate even before that when we were talking at the very beginning. What was it about real estate that made you want to get into it, and what's your approach kind of been?
I really don't know, man. I think my mom became a real estate agent when I was about 16, and she started doing really well, really fast. The market was really hot, and she got into like the Carlton Sheets videos and all that stuff. And I started listening to some of that. I was like, man, this is seems like a pretty good little hustle. And so it just interested in me. And so I started working when I was like 16, 17, building my credit, savings account, and things like that to try to put myself in a position where before I was 20, I could purchase my own house. And the way that the market was then, and I started in the industry at 16. I had already had 2 years of work history at 18. I was actually able to get a home loan when I was 18 and purchase my first house at 18.
Jeez, man. You bought a house at 18. You bought a company at 19. You got your first employee at 19. You've been busy.
Yep.
Yeah, and so now are you buying single family homes? You buying like apartment buildings, commercial, a little of everything?
Yeah. So I'm trying to stay away from the single family homes. I have 2 left that I'm trying to get rid of right now if you're looking to buy some investment properties. And moved into trying to do more of the commercial space and more of the apartment complex.
What do you think about commercial right now with COVID and offices being vacant?
Yeah, you definitely got to go after the right space. I mean, there's some good opportunities out there right now because stuff is vacant though, and stuff isn't going to stay like this forever. People don't want to work at home. No one wants to work at home. It's boring. You see those people every day. You want to have some other interaction.
Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where people are. I don't know about everyone else, but for me, it's like, all right, the novelty's kind of worn off, and I've been working from home for about 9 months, and I'm starting to go into the office more often. I'm starting to get out a little bit more. I could foresee, I don't think the things are going to return to 100%, normal pandemic, but 80% probably.
Right.
And I think when it comes to like warehouses and maybe like more blue collar kind of work, I think there's always going to be a need for that commercial space.
Yep.
And certainly office space is going to come back. I think there's an opportunity, maybe not right now, but maybe in 6 months. Like I think foreclosures are coming. Is that what you're thinking too?
Yep, for sure. Residential for sure. And industrial, like you said, with the large office space, with all this stuff happening, we're going to stop import, export, the importing from China. A lot of that stuff's going to stop it. We're going to do more in the United States business. And so a lot of those businesses that are doing stuff right now are going to grow and need more warehouse space. And, I think there's going to be more manufacturing and things popping up over the next five years or so.
Totally agree. All right, here's another question from Rich. What is the turnaround time, say, first contact to total install for a van?
On average, right around 7 to 10 business days, but we make the impossible happen, man. We've done stuff in 24-hour turnaround time when we need to. So, just let us know what your needs are, and we can always work with you.
Rich, I assume this is for a hot air balloon company. Yeah, that's what Rich does. So Hey man, maybe you can get can you wrap a hot air balloon? Probably
Hey,
not,
we
huh?
always do trade too. Hot balloon air riding sounds interesting.
That sounds pretty cool, actually. Yeah, Rich has a nice business. He's posting videos and pictures all the time of his trips in his hot air balloon. It's pretty cool stuff. Yeah,
Sounds like
so
a cool
Van,
IEO event.
no, you're talking. I like your style, man. Cool. So, hey, what do you see on the horizon for AGWraps? Say like I don't know, 2 to 5 years from now.
I mean, we're growing, man. We're trying to, we're trying to move into a larger space. We've been looking really hot and heavy for the last 2 years, and just trying to make sure we're finding a really good centrally located spot to expand to. That we have plenty of room for expansion over coming years, and we're looking to grow by some acquisition. We're kind of training our talent up this year and through last year, and hoping by mid this year and towards the end of this year, we're ready to start doing some more acquisitions.
Awesome, man. That is really cool. Well, you've grown tremendously. You said you were doing, shooting for $300 a day in the very beginning, 1,500
Yeah,
bucks a week. Now it's 50,000 a week. I mean, that's just incredible. So congratulations on that.
thanks.
Congratulations on, you know, uh, bringing your grandfather's business into it and the real estate and everything else. Like I'm really impressed by you. Another thing that I really like about you, John, is, I like that you're not like a suit and tie kind of a guy. Like, John is, he's got the straight bill hat. He's got, he's, you look at John and you probably wouldn't be like, oh, that's a sharp businessman, but this guy's a sharp businessman. I mean, I am freaking impressed with a lot of the shit that you do. So like
Thank you. I
for
appreciate you, man.
EO, like that one time where we needed a panel to speak at Region, I'm like, no, I definitely want John up there. I want you to represent, man.
Appreciate that.
Awesome stuff.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Hey, here's an opportunity if you need a realtor. So Todd, I'm a realtor. Any idea if you can write off your car payment as an advertising expense if you wrap it? That is a great question.
Yeah, I don't 100% know about that, but I know you can write the wrap off for sure as advertising. As far as the vehicle expense, I think that would probably depend on the type of vehicle. I know with like trucks and things like that, you can write off almost 100% of them, whereas like luxury cars are like 30% and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Definitely, I would suggest consulting with Jones Accounting Firm.
Call Ali. He'll take
Yeah,
care of you.
Paul Ali, he'll take care of you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we both use Jones CPA in downtown Norfolk. They have an office in Virginia Beach as well. But yeah, for me, I know that I give myself a car allowance from the company to offset, mileage and just everything that comes with the car. So you could do that. Cars can also be purchased by the business, or you can do a lease, and that can be, an expense for the business. There's a lot of ways that you can write off that car, or at least part of, or most of the car. But that's pretty cool about the wrap. I mean, it is a really good ad. You know what's interesting? So, yeah, I'm a digital marketer, right? So everything that I talk about, everything that we sell and that we believe in is digital, online, Facebook, Google, places like that. But when I drive down the street and I see a really good wrap and I see a big phone number in particular and a URL, like it gets my attention, no doubt about that. I believe in that
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
And if you're going to be driving around town, why wouldn't you want to advertise as your people are driving around town?
Yeah.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
You think about it per impression kind of thing, to pay $3,000 to ride around town for, 2-3 years with, a vehicle wrap on, and think of how many impressions you're getting and how does that cost break down per impression. We've had people wrap their vehicle and pull out at the stoplight out here and land a $30,000 job. We've got testimonials like that on our website. It's crazy. I mean, and guys that have never had a vehicle wrapped or just had lettering before and don't realize how much you stand out in a sea of white work vehicles because everybody has a white work vehicle. So with doing a wrap, you can change the whole front of that thing to bright orange or green, or they see you
Yeah.
coming before they even see you. So their head's more likely to turn and look than some normal white van with some black lettering on it that says I do electrical work or something.
Totally agree. Yeah. And, I'm going to bring this back up because I think this is a really good example for me of something that gets your attention. Like right away, it's very, very colorful. You can tell that it's not just a paint job. You can tell what company it is. So the company is very prominent at the top, hybrid, and then the phone number right there. Boom. So I think that's like a really smart kind of wrap right there. So nice stuff, man. Hey, bud, I
Appreciate it.
appreciate your time. That was really awesome. Like I said, man, very impressive story, and I look forward to seeing you grow over the next couple of years, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the opportunity, and have a safe travel back home tonight, man.
You got it, bud. All right,
All right,
thanks.
take care.